Welcome to Audio Branding, the hidden gem of marketing. Sound plays a more important role in human behavior and our decision-making than you may realize. In this podcast, I'll help you understand the art and science of sound so you can better influence others in business and your life. I'm your host, Jodi Krangle. Let's delve a little deeper. So you went from cars then to non-intrusive sounds.
Yeah,
so you were working in intrusive sounds with theater and performance.
Very intrusive.
But it's an art. Like it's art form and it's supposed to be heard, right?
Yes.
And then to unintrusive stuff. So what got you interested in the less intrusive stuff?
Yes.
Where did you go?
But the reason is working with automotive sounds, mostly for the internal sounds, because the cockpit where you're listening is a source of passive listening for the driver.
Very much so, yeah.
Plenty of sounds that you receive passively. You don't want to put your blinker because you want to listen to the blinker.
It's true.
You put the blinker, you have to take the sound.
Yeah.
Like
that'd be annoying for the person behind you.
Yeah, but for you as well, huh? And in fact, when you start to work on that, you start to think, oh, okay, I'm doing this sound, and some poor person will have to listen to this sound every time. I don't know. He jumps on the car. So you start making some experiment, like for instance, some sounds that we made is the sound that when you put on the car system, the computer system, there is a kind of animation in the little computer.
Yes, yeah.
A little sound. Okay, so I started to design some of these, and I make the experiment to each day listen to this at least once, and after 1 week I wanted to kill. The sound designer, which is myself, and here I started this long reflection on low intrusiveness paradigm, and with my colleague at IRCAM, Nicolas Misdaris, he's the head of the sound design department. We started to theorize a little bit, and we created some guidelines. So what to avoid when you are creating sounds that have to be listened in a passive way.
So what do you want to avoid when you're making such sounds?
It's very complex.
I'm sure.
First and foremost, you should know the background. What's happening in the background of your sound. So for instance, we use recordings of noise inside of the car when you are driving. We took some recording to understand this kind of brown noise made by...
So that it functions inside there.
Exactly.
Well.
Yes, because this is the background. And then an intrusive sound is a sound who emerges from the background in a certain way. So so you can make a sound emerge and disappear without you realizing. So this is a non-intrusive or almost non-intrusive sound, or you can make it emerge like this, and that will be a startling sound.
So an alarm, yeah.
Yes, for instance. And then you have this kind of hybrid zone where you can really play between intrusiveness, low intrusiveness, or even not realizing that the sound is here. And so it's so loudness, of course, the volume is important, of course, but it is not just the volume. There are a series of timbral features, like the central spectroid, for instance, which is the center of gravity of the sound compared to the background. Or the roughness of the sound. The roughness is the small vibrations in amplitude, like this, compared always to the background. The skewness is another spectral feature. Is the if this is the center of the sound, the skewness is where the other frequencies are balanced, if are to the high or to the low, for instance. And so if you control all these factors, you can really place a sound in a kind of ideal position to be heard without aggress. Then there are memory factors. For instance, I tend to avoid musical sounds, like sounds where you can sing a pitched sounds, and even more if they have a melody, like I don't know, the infamous pidi 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 pidi
yeah,
which is
highly annoying.
Exactly, yes, because when you get some sound like this, the sound says you are receiving a call, basically. So maybe you just need one event. If you each time you have a call, you receive a melody, you have parts of your brain that have to recognize the melody, retrieve it from memory, catalog, okay, this is a melody, and this is all mental fatigue for nothing. Okay, so I tend to avoid completely musical cues because they create unnecessary mental load.
Interesting. Yeah. So you have a free download that you're going to
let
people listening to that are going to be able to experience one of your non-intrusive sounds. So
exactly.
I love that. I love that. So that's to be used on a cell phone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or can it be used in on a computer?
Yes.
So anything you want to use it for?
Yes, it's a simple sound file. Mm-hmm. And I use for the SMS in my case. And is longer than a normal notification sound because it starts very slowly, where all notification sound hit you ping with a strong attack. Mine is one like this, and he has 4 little episodes, of which the last is a little louder than the others. If you put it at very low level, you basically, it's very strange. You have the sensation that something is happening, and you don't feel the rush to go and check your telephone.
I love that.
You know that there is this kind of vibration in the atmosphere, nobody will hear it because nobody's used to couple this kind of sounds with a telephone. Sometimes it seems a vibration in the atmosphere, something like this. And I could not go back to normal sounds.
I don't blame you after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very intrusive after that.
Yes.
My goodness.
Of course, there is a danger that if you are in a noisy environment, you could lose the information. So don't use this kind of sounds if you are, expecting an important call or an important message.
Well, I guess you wouldn't want to use it for anything that you do actually want to be an alarm.
Yes, exactly.
So this is for one of those sounds that you would just use where you can get to it whenever you want. It's it's a notification. It's not you got to get to this now.
Yes.
Yeah. So we've talked in this podcast previously about the alarms in hospitals. And I think that a lot of them should be talking to you. So yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of the alarms in a hospital really don't need to be an alarm. They're a notification.
Yeah.
So they're there, but it gets very loud.
Yes. Of course, this is very true. Also because nobody listens to these sounds. Even the nurse that should be paying attention, they really they got used to this kind of droning situation because
you have to tune it out.
Yes, and imagine the mental load to do that, to tune out this kind of sounds, and of course imagine the poor people that are in the hospital as a patient as well.
Yeah, not good.
Yes, and there is something similar in the automotive industry. I don't know if in the States or in Canada you have it. You know, when you are parking and you have the radar, you have a little beep, 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 beep.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, this is totally unnecessary because you are receiving a few informations. Basically, the car is in 4 zone or 5 of proximity to another car, basically. So you need the information that you are switched from a zone to the other, right? So you were in the zone 1 safe, now you are in the zone 2 a little bit safer, and then the 3 tension. Okay, so you just need one sound, one well-designed sound that tells you, okay, you are switched to another zone. You don't need pa, 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 all the time.
Yeah, the constant.
Know, you know, yeah. And this is another, you know, this kind of repetition, this pulsation creates a lot of urgency. There is a lot of research about repetition perceived urgency. So you got in a alarmed state for nothing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stress in our lives. We do not need to add to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, really. I'm sure that if we arrived to put less intrusive sounds inside the cars, inside the telephones, inside the computers, probably we could diminish a little bit the state of stress of people, because like the people in the audiences that I saw in the theater show, that get alarmed because you do something intrusive. The same thing happens if you are driving or using a phone. You even if you are very smart, very intelligent, your primeval brain got excited, anxious because of certain sonic cues.
We all have a lizard brain.
Absolutely.
Definitely do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So along those lines, I'm curious about something, because I know you've kind of switched from making intrusive sounds and art sounds to making unintrusive sounds. Did that happen because of the pandemic, or did you do this before?
Before.
Or do you think it's helped since the pandemic? Have there been changes in your approach to this since the pandemic?
No. So the research on low intrusiveness for me is from before. And the pandemic didn't really create particular interest in that. On the contrary, what I really discovered during the pandemic is the possibilities of remote work in audio.
Yes.
With the car industry, and then we did an installation with Earcam, with Taiwan, and in both cases very complex sonic scenes, because we work on car sounds at distance, and in both cases we use the artificial head to transmit sonic sensation from Taiwan to Italy or from France to Italy. I used the simulation using binaural stuff with the Earcam software to make simulations, and I think that we made incredible things without being in person. So less travel, less time passed in airports.
Impressive.
Yes. And recently I saw this installation I made with Taiwan. They came to Paris, so I saw it for the first time in real, and basically I think that, or at least 95% of this kind of remote work was exactly the same thing of the real performance, plus 5% of the sensation of being in the space with people, with the visual sensation. That, of course, this is less easy to communicate. And same with the cars. Mm-hmm. Now I'm really used to receive binaural recordings of the cars, and then when I see the real car, I'm not surprised. It's really
interesting.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad that it's worked out. Actually, it's the same thing for voiceovers, I have to say. I mean, I had a booth since 2013, I think, something like that. So I've had a home studio way before that, but I've had a really good home studio for a while. And it was hard for me to get the local city on board to not having me need to drive into there to do a session, because I don't need to anymore. There's no reason to have the voice actor there.
Yes.
You can have the client there. You can have the studio still booked and everybody there, but I would just be standing in a booth.
Yes. And so you send them your sound live?
Yes.
And you record at the same time?
Yep. Yeah, we're in a session. It's with a program called Source Connect.
Okay.
And Source Connect records from me on my end and sends the signal to them on their end.
Okay.
Their engineer can mix and master it all and put it all together with the picture that they're looking at on their end. It's all fantastic.
Exactly.
I mean, this has been going on for a long time. Don't get me wrong. That aspect has been happening for a while, but relying on it entirely, I think, was something that a lot of people didn't want to do until the pandemic came and everything closed down and the studios were closed. I mean, and then their engineers had to do all of it from home.
Yes.
Because advertising doesn't stop, as you well know.
Absolutely.
So it was interesting to see the light bulbs go on and people be okay with it.
Yes.
You know that.
There is something we did. We did this. So we were checking sounds for the interior of the car, and this is another family of sounds which is not really developed. Is some kind of sound augmentation for the driver. So you drive and you have a kind of engine sound inside. So I was in Italy and the other guys were in France. We were live. So I would have a live feed from their car where I could listen to their internal sounds live. They were at the same time recording with an artificial head. So by binaural, etc. So I could tell to them, now can you go from 0 to 30 very fast? And I listen and they record. And then I can say, okay, now go outside and go 65 for a little bit. So, and I had a direct feedback. Maybe I could also say, okay, now you take the first channel and I don't know, take down 3 decibel, stuff like this. And, without having to travel to pollute the air with planes, etc. as well.
Yeah. The footprint is a lot lower, definitely these days in a lot of places.
Yeah, and we did. I don't know, but I don't know if we were on Skype or Zoom, something like this, without any complex systems.
Yeah, it's fascinating how it can work. And even Zoom, since the pandemic, has gotten a lot better.
Yes.
So yeah, there's a ton that's being done now that can be done remotely.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really fascinating to see how sound is factoring into all of that, because the sound transmission is getting better. That was part of what Zoom increased their capabilities with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been really interesting to see the progression, but I'm glad to hear that you are on the case in the cars, because they definitely need the help.
Yes.
That is a good thing.
Yes, I think that the phenomenon of road rage. Probably a little bit of this could be really changed with a sonic atmosphere inside of the car, less aggressive, less stressing.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. And I sort of want to end on this note a little bit. I have one more question after this that I want to ask you, but I want to ask you why you think sound is important, because I know it's a big question, but But I always like to find out from people why sound is important in their environment, in their world, because there's so many different answers.
Yes.
And not one of them is right or wrong. So
yes. Yeah. Well, for me, the principal fact is that we are constantly listening to our environment. We
Very
cannot
true.
stop to listen. We are totally passive. So every little bit of sound that happens has a profound influence in our auditory system that we can be conscious of or not. So, when we create sounds, we should be very careful of what we do. Mostly when we do sounds that are listened in a passive way. Music is another thing. It would be beautiful if everybody really choose music to be really aggressive by. I listen to music because I want to be extracted from this world and go in another universe, And this is how my way of listening to music is this headphone or big system. And bye-bye, guys. See you in half an hour. I'm going to Mars. Ciao. Don't call me. Don't do nothing. I go away for a little bit. And, but I realized that not everybody has this idea of sound, because there is a lot of kind of, background music that is a little bit intrusive and that just covers the everyday sounds, and people need that for put a kind of paint on the everyday sound to be less scared of the sonic world. And in fact, the sonic world is scary. We are scared animals, and I don't know who said that the hearing is the organ of fear. So
interesting.
Maybe it was Nietzsche. I don't remember.
It definitely makes us feel.
Yes,
that's the truth.
We are scared animals. So every little sound that we don't want to listen to is scary.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point that you raised, that we need to be very conscious of the sound that we put into the world, because it needs to be conscious, because it can hurt or it can help.
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's not that I stopped to do traditional intrusive music. I still do that. But I try.
So art.
Yes. But I try to really to nail the form, and the form is not made only by music but also by words, how it's presented, what is the visual. And so I'm trying to focus on doing something that musically is really intrusive, but in sound design is the opposite. And I try to be really extreme, like polarized, like black or white, where everyone says that you should be in the gray. No, for me, this should be really polarized.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, you're getting the best of both worlds. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. They say they say that it's not sane to be so polarized, but in this case, I want to be unsane.
That is totally fine. That's totally fine. So what is it that you're working on now? Is there anything that you can talk about, or?
Yeah, well, now I'm doing two projects for two sub-brands of Renault, Dacia and Alpine. So one is this kind of off-road vehicles, big, sturdy.
Okay.
And Alpine is a super sport, beautiful cars.
Okay, so they are going the sport route. Okay.
Yes, but in the electric part. And then I'm collaborating with the University of Genova, where there is a beautiful department which is called Casa Paganini, and the director is Antonio Camuri, which is a great scientist about movement, qualities of movements, and biomechanics and computer science. And we did several projects. We did one very interesting with the Ospedale Galliera for older people, with another important doctor for older people, Alberto Pilotto. We did a great project for some kind of sonification of slow movements for elderly people, for people at risk of frailty. And now we are on a project for studying how polluted urban soundscapes influence the quality of movement. So
interesting.
How your ability to be in balance, to be fluid in movement, can be disturbed by hearing sounds with a lot of roughness, for instance, or with a big spectral contrast from the background. And we just started this summer.
Yeah, so sound really matters in a lot of different ways.
Yes.
Fascinating. Yeah,
yes.
That's really interesting. I'll look forward to hearing more about that particular study, because I think that'll be a good thing for people to know.
Yes, because there are researches about they capture the muscular tension with some captors, and they notice that if you hear an intrusive sound, your muscles have a little
they tense.
The skin becomes more electric, and your heart rate goes down a little bit because you pay attention, and then goes up after, stuff like this. But I think there is not really some experiment to see how your ability, for instance, to stay in balance gets disrupted by an intrusive sound. And for instance, if you try to stay in balance, you have to be very concentrated. And if some sound really hurts you, like this, you are likely to lose your balance. So we are going to explore that. It's really a big now mystery for the moment. We don't know if we will find something interesting or not, but we'll try to do, and we find the thing.
I kind of feel sorry for your subjects.
No. Now there are some ethical committees that have to approve you cannot do the good old experiments they did in the 70s.
Oh yeah, you can't get away with that anymore. No.
You have to be careful now.
Yes.
The levels cannot be too strong, and the experimental conditions have to be really controlled.
Well, it means less if it's not controlled, right? You want the controlled experiment so that you really know what you've got.
Yes. The problem is that normally, so it's me who has to do the real guinea pig. I mean, with me, I can try the hard stuff. So
you can do it on yourself. Okay. Just be careful. My goodness. Okay. Well, hopefully it won't be too startling.
No, but I don't know. It's I mean, if you are looking for something and you are really passionate, you do it.
Well, yes. Just be careful. Just don't hurt yourself.
Yeah. No. I want to find the center of things.
That's yeah. That's a good objective, definitely. So how can people get in touch with you if they would like to do that?
I have a horrible website. Really, it's an incredibly horrendous website. It's one HTML page, one page, which then sends to the Wikipedia, to my YouTube.
Definitely to different places. Okay.
Yes, and there is the email if you. I'm a disaster at communication.
Okay, so just your name and .com, is that it?
Andrea Cera.
It's CERA, just so people are aware. Yeah.
AndreaCera.info.
Okay, .info.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Andrea. This was fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. And we will definitely be in touch. Yes.
Cool. Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. And if you like what you heard, why not tell a friend about this podcast? It's available in all the usual locations. Until next time,